much higher. Yeah, we're gonna watch this. It's gonna be cool. Yeah. This isn't One Piece.
If you've ever wondered, what if another studio besides Toei animated One Piece and the director of Code Geass handled it? Well, that's sort of answered with the 98
Like, I know
OVA
that the OVA
with
exists,
a
I just
very
don't know anything
to-the-point
about it.
title, Defeat the Pirate Gunzak. It's also the first ever One Piece animation and was produced by the same studio behind Ghost in the
I wanna
Shell,
watch it.
Volleyball Show, Attack on Titan, kinda, as well as working on other big names like Hunter x Hunter,
Oh,
Good Old
I need to
Produ-
watch the old Hunter x Hunter too, because that shit looks amazing. That shit actually looks amazing, like direction wise. Oh my
IG.
god!
And visually, it was excellent.
And this looks
and
awesome
very
too.
different. The art style
That
is
art style is
obviously the
beautiful.
first thing. It's pretty interesting to see the difference in approach between the two anime's character
Wow.
designers. Now, firstly, I'll point out that Oda designed some of the characters for this film. However, the one who adapted them for the anime was Hisashi Kagawa. He was actually a character designer
Yeah.
on Sailor Moon, so definitely wasn't new to this role. And then Noboru Koizumi for early One Piece. And one of the first things is the noggin. Even in early One Piece, Oda gave a rounded shape to the head. Koizumi doesn't really change it all too much, with exception to a sharper touch. However, Kagawa's designs are sharper again and have like these strong curves for the side of the head with a more
Yeah.
longer and pointed chin. It gives a very
More
defined look to the
anime-esque.
faces. Outside the face though, Oda's designs have either thick or very thin necks with two inwards facing
Oh, I love
curves.
pre-time skip
Ears
Nami.
sit down very
I like
low on the
post-time
head
skip
and
Nami as well,
like the
but-
neck. The arms and legs are rounded and tube-like. And then finally, those big old feet and hands. And
Damn!
that all over, of course.
Yo! What the fuck?
And then finally,
I
those
never
big
know.
old feet and
Yeah! She got fucking finger toes. Holy shit!
hands.
Oh my
and
god!
Koizumi brings that all over, of course.
That is
Get
crazy.
them big ass ugly shoes, bro.
Come on.
Fellas,
Who did it first?
Yo!
Stupid.
Yeah, stupid.
Those are huge,
with an addition
bro.
of slightly longer jaws. And Kagawa's designs once again go in a different direction. For starters,
Bro,
the
'cause those
big
are
hands and feet
huge!
are gone, just regular human proportions now. The ears sit up just above the jaw instead of like half below it. The neck goes
Like,
out.
obviously, I'm happy with the okay. I don't want to say I'm happy with the adaptation of One Piece, because you know that shit has a lot of fucking problems, which is why I don't watch it. Except for like Marineford, I read it, shit was peak, and then I went and watched it because that shit was obviously goated. And then with Wano, I'm reading it, but for the Gear 5 shit, when I get to that point, I mean, obviously I've been spoiled to hell because like I'm friends with the One Piece YouTubers, I see that shit all over my timeline, but I feel like I have to watch the anime for that first reveal. I feel like that'd be a lot more fun because I've seen the clips and I know what it looks like, but just in the context, I feel like the anime might be the preferred method for that. But just in terms of pacing, like that's my biggest thing to where I'm like, it has to be the manga. I couldn't like. A lot of people can watch it, and that's good for them. That's awesome for them. Not me. I'm gonna go read the fucking manga. But yeah, and then I mean, I guess there's not too much other big things. Like other things are more lesser scale than the pacing. I feel like the pacing really makes it. But
Upwards, the lines
at least
very
the art
much
style
follow
is
the natural shape
matches
of it.
One Piece. Like as much as I love this, I don't think I'd want the whole series to look like that.
But you can like see that subtle bump for the top of the sternomastoid, which is that tube-like muscle that forms the main silhouette of the neck. And then the second part. Whereas Oda just
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't
simplifies it
expect
all
this to
into
be
one
so,
line.
like-
and it's very
like
much
an
the same
anatomy
for the
lesson.
arms and
It's cool.
clothing, and that it leans to a more grounded look. A slightly realistic take on Oda's style, you could say. And there's other little details like having
It looks so
hatching
good,
and
though.
going
I wanna
for
watch
heavier
this shit.
shading. And with the ear, which instantly stood out for me, the shapes are roughly the same, albeit being bigger than Oda and Koizumi. But instead of all this line
Damn,
here,
bro can
it's
hear my
broken
thoughts.
down into two lines. Some animators might draw it a little different than others, but it's pretty consistent. Oddly, there are a couple of times where you'll get the regular One Piece proportions, low-sitting ears and big hands, but that's kinda the exception. And speaking of designs, interestingly enough, one of the animators on this special, Masayuki Sato, would
Ooh.
later join Toei and do the character designs for the later One Piece movies and specials. Kagawa would join Toei as well, but he didn't
It
touch
is also crazy. Can we talk about how fucking good One Piece animation has been off of what I've been seeing? Like, of course it's not gonna be peak fucking animation every week ever for a weekly anime, but just it is very impressive that they've like the good scenes that I've been seeing have been done. You know, I don't know. I can't fucking talk. Ooh, old JoJo's OVA is also awesome, and the only piece of JoJo's content that I watched in dub, because it's very good in dub.
One Piece to like almost about 15 years later. So yeah, there's some niche lore that's also relevant. Now, in terms of writing, this film was an anime original story, but definitely recycles.
I was about to say, I didn't want to sound like a fake One Piece fan, because it has been a minute since I've read early One Piece, but I was gonna say I don't remember them, but I also didn't want people to be like, how dare you not remember the Captain Gonzaga or whatever his name is? I can't fucking believe this.
From the manga, especially in the case for the villain Ganzak. I guess he's the result if you stuck Buggy, Don Krieg, and Arlong all in a blender. The Buggy aspect comes out in his attempts to destroy the town with his ship after the townspeople rebel against him, and he also has a thing for damaging Straw Hats.
No!
With Arlong, you have the sea monster under his command. There's also the enslaving everyone on the island thing, and even similar dialogue like calling them livestock. The Don Kriegness comes in with his partial reliance on weapons
Don Krieg.
and armor.
Was that the fucking
What's
Marine
kind of
guy?
Weird though is that this anime predates both.
I really don't fucking remember. Holy shit. Oh, thanks, Google. Oh no, he's a pirate. Oh, I remember him. I see. He's the guy with the fucking gold armor. Yeah, I remember him.
Those characters, the manga was actually only in the Syrup Village arc when this film dropped, which also explains the absence of Usopp, as he would be introduced
What
about
the
a month
fuck?
from the July release, and by that point it would have been a bit too late for rewrites, but it does raise the question, did this niche OVA inspire some of early One Piece? Well, we do know Oda had plenty of praise to throw to the anime staff and said, quote, brings tears to my eyes, and the staff's passion lit the fires of my writing soul. So it's definitely a possibility that he borrowed some elements. At the same time, some of it probably was just coincidence, like the plot point of a little girl, that being Medaka, having a particular hatred of pirates because of what they did to her village. Obviously,
oh my God,
the pirate
wait a
hate
minute.
is inspired by Nami in those earlier chapters. But at this point, it hadn't been revealed that her village had also been taken over, nor had we seen her as a child. At the same time, Oda no doubt already had Nami's backstory planned out. There's like clear references.
Nah,
to...
he stole it from the anime. No, not JoJo's like the main anime. I'm talking about the old OVA. The 90s OVA was good in dub. Oh, wait, you're saying it's true. Oh, shit, wait. Look, man, wait a minute. I'm not defending my take here. But Dragon Ball dub, voices are good. I like it because of the childhood shit. To say it's a good dub is very debatable, because I've seen, like, the whole thing with the changing the story and shit. Like, especially after reading the manga and watching some of the original, you kind of get it. But I do understand the praise for it, and I still like, I don't think there's problems with the localizations as bad with Super, probably, because it's a newer age. Like, back in the day, they used to change shit a lot more. You notice in a lot of older anime. But, I mean, I watched the movies in dub. They're good. When Super was airing, I watched it in dub for a little bit when I wasn't caught up, and then when I caught up, obviously in sub. But, I don't know, like, I'm on the side of I like how they sound. I love playing the games. I love watching the anime and hearing those voices that I grew up with, or the recasts that are still good. But I also understand the localization hate, so it's kind of weird. FLCL, I like in both. Naruto, good dub. Obviously Death Note is a good dub. Code Geass is a good dub. Durarara, I liked that dub, actually, to be honest. What else had a good dub? What else have I fucking watched in dub? ReZero dub. I didn't watch it in dub. I remember I watched that in sub, and then I heard that he calls Amelia Melia, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I didn't like that. What else did I fucking watch in dub? Do I need to fucking pull up my anime list right now? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Look, man, watch however you want to watch it, and yeah.
For example, in the Orange Town arc, and plenty of others I'm forgetting. So yeah, some plot points just happen to already line up with the manga, and perhaps there were some aspects that did inspire
most anime
Oda
I watch
when
as they're
it came to
airing, so
flesh
like
out
I never
specific
really
concepts
have
or
to choose.
characters.
Anyways.
Now, animation-wise, this credit list is stacked with quality and quantity. First up, there's the GOAT, the man regarded as one of the greatest action animators who have broken down many of times, Yutaka Nakamura. Cowboy Bebop, Full Metal Alchemist, Mob Psycho, My Hero Academia, Dragon Ball Z that one time, Soul Eater, Evangelion, Space Dandy. You probably haven't heard of it unless you watch Scamboli's channel.
You know what makes my butt?
But it's good.
How have you never heard of Is there people that haven't heard of Space Dandy? I guess that makes sense.
Dandy, you probably haven't heard of it unless you watch Scamboli's channel,
You know what makes my ball?
but it's good. Is also on this special.
Yeah, I can actually pull up my Crunchyroll. There's some that I haven't started yet, but there's some fucking bangers this season. I won't lie. Like Zom 100, I've been meaning to read the manga of that forever. I started the anime the other day and I caught up that same like watch span because that shit was so fucking good. Oh yeah, I like Soul Eater's dub. I also watched it in sub though, and then I read the manga obviously. Girl, I forgot her glasses. I'm actually working on a video for the anime channel about that because the animation has been talked about for a bit. JJK season 2, fucking awesome. I already knew that because I read the manga. Yohane the Parhelion, the Love Live spinoff is great. I think that's still airing, so that's still this season. What else is there? That's going on in new. There's a lot airing. Holy shit. Why is it not showing me new? Whatever. I'll fucking talk about it later. But yeah, there's some good shit going on right now. What y'all been watching anything? I want to just talk about myself here.
About 8 seconds of animation. But hey, it's coolies here. Then there's the Studio Cockpit crew. By the way, that's where Kagawa and Sato worked for at the time. The studio behind some of the best action animation on Dragon Ball Z and a fan favorite on Sailor Moon.
Those old
Specifically, there's Yoshihiko
when old
Umekoshi,
anime
well known
goes
for his
into
work
the
on Berserk
good fights.
and
Oh my
Precure.
god, bro.
Certainly worlds apart, a man of diversity, you could say.
Precure's awesome.
The most famous for being the chief animation director on My Hero Academia. Honestly, there's plenty of more names I could rattle off, although the audience attention will probably crash if I labor on any longer. Moving forward to the actual content of this special, the crew get attacked by a monster, Luffy almost commits homicide, and somehow manages to make
Dark
it to
Gathering.
shore. But when he gets there though, 2 pirates are ready to strip him, but
Yo!
not before some kid decides to go for an attempted shank.
Hold on. This shit looks kind of cool. This is another one that I've actually been meaning to read, unless it's... This is off the manga, right? I feel like I've seen the manga in, one of my manga reading apps. That are all legal and 100% legit. Is the anime so much better that I need to read or watch the anime, or should I just read the manga? I don't know. Like, sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes I just like, I'm trying to get better about it, but I normally just do the original thing. Sometimes I don't give a fuck about an anime adaptation, but then, like, Bocchi the Rock and Zom 100, and I'm like, fuck, man. Those are 2 that I'd never read the manga for before going in, and those 2 are, like, really good adaptations, I feel like, after seeing the manga after, and I'm like, oh, man. Sometimes it's worth it to go into the anime blind, but I also just feel like, obviously, it's faster to read the manga, and then, like, obviously, if it's a adaptation of a light novel or a visual novel, you already know it's going to be not as good most of the time, so I just read the original thing first. And yeah, I have seen some 86. I'm not nowhere near caught up. That's one where I'm like, I might just read the light novel, because like I said, it's just kind of weird with light novel adaptations most of the time. First anime was Sailor Moon movie. Not a bad one to start. Goblin Slayer. Hey. How you liking Goblin Slayer?
This results in Luffy getting stomped, which, must admit, is
also
kinda
recently
funny,
the Fate Strange
but
fake
then it
anime
leads
came
to
out.
the
That was
first
awesome.
animated
Or the
Gum
OVA.
Gum Punch, and by none other than Yumekoshi. Interestingly, this is one of the 2 scenes that have actually been confirmed on this entire thing, as of recording. And it is great. Good anticipation going into it. There's cool details like adding head shake as Luffy's talking, makes the animation more expressive.
sick.
The smoke has a smooth touch. Umekoshi times it out on 1s and 2s with very little space between the drawings to give that smooth effect, and the impact is pretty different and unusual in a good way. Usually when animating a punch true to life, they're quick,
Mink.
and in anime they're particularly snappy, and because of that you don't need a lot of drawings because your brain fills in the gaps. For this scene though, it's fairly long and uses a surprisingly high drawing count. I'll remove some of the frames to kind of like show you the standard look you would see in anime.
Yeah, that
No
does make
complaints
sense.
though, overall very impactful.
I'm thinking of reading the
And
ReZero
cool framing for the
novels
finish.
soon.
Anyway,
But I want to
Luffy
catch up on
returns
Class
with
of the Elite because
Medaka and gets Island
I think
Lord.
I'm on Class of the Elite 2 Volume 3 or 4. Actually, I can fucking check. Volume 3. I know because it's got the bad bitch in the bag. But yeah. This
Cool by
3,
the old
4,
man.
4.5.
And I guess this is a good a time as any to bring up the director and storyboarder, Goro Taniguchi. Now, I haven't watched Code Geass or honestly anything that he's worked on besides 2 episodes of
I want to
Space
rewatch Code
Dandy.
Geass soon. That was like I watched it so fucking long ago.
One Piece Film Red. On second thought, that isn't too bad, I guess. But suffice to say, all I knew about him before this video is that he never touched
right
One
there.
Piece until like 20 years later with Film Red. And he's also
Hey!
the reason the footage on screen
Y'all can thank Film Red for me actually resolving to fucking catch up on One Piece because of Auto. Very sad reasoning, but yes.
isn't pixelated to oblivion,
You see the ring? You see the ring? He got a beautiful ring.
and everyone isn't turned into an orange mass.
Website status
as
suspicious.
This special was his debut as a director.
Possible pornography? What did you link me? Oh, it's a manhwa. That's why. All those websites have fucking porn ads. Yeah, I like a lot of webtoons and manhwa too. I'll be reading those as well. I just
and
didn't think about mentioning
being One
them.
Piece related, of course. For the promotion of Film Red, they decided to re-show it.
Loved that,
Still
loved
not
that.
perfect
Oh my God.
quality. I do wish a better remaster was available, but it is what it is. With his character introduction out of the way, he does a convincing job in introducing us to the main villain. Using fire and having someone illustrated through just a rough silhouette isn't a particularly
I'm
new
gonna stop pausing
concept,
so much.
but it is
I wanna watch
effective
this.
and is executed well. We're also introduced to the Devil's Tower. Certainly
We're an
one of
hour
the
into
more
stream and we've watched 2
unique
videos.
Concept story-wise, and I'm probably going to say this continually throughout this video, but the effects work. It's always fun to see how animators get creative in this area. Don't know who it is, and honestly that will also be the theme throughout much of this video.
Yeah, I
But the
don't know
shapes
who it
and the
is.
level of detail
Fair
are
enough.
very eye-catching.
I do wanna
Also,
make a
the
video soon
sound
about
design
lost
and
media
the
in
directional
anime
choice for pure
on the
silence.
anime channel.
With just this whistle of the projectile gives an eerie atmosphere. Even after it lands, there's this quiet rumble that lingers on for about a minute. It really sells it as this terrible weapon, and through audio alone.
Yeah, I'm definitely watching this soon.
Skipping a little ahead to the action, we get peak Zoro character art. The
Yeah.
color palette is very nice as well. Again, it's interesting to look at the direction Toei took, specifically One Piece's color designer in its early days,
One
Tsutomu
Piece.
Tsukuda, which was very bright and stylized. Like Zoro's hair, for example, is a vibrant green. This isn't criticism, by the way. I think it's great. It gives a very distinct and unique look. While Akiko Shibata, the designer for this anime, goes for something more earthy, and the
Yeah.
palette overall drifts to warmer
I
tones.
do really fucking
it's
love
a
this
little
design,
closer
though.
to Oda's colors for the skin and Zoro's hair in that respect. At this time anyway. Keep in mind also the quality of the footage makes everything look a little more dark and dingy than how it would have originally looked. But yeah, the OVA goes for a more grounded approach, and that extends to every department. The direction for the background art is quite realistic. The animation, like we can see literally in the next cut as Nami makes her return on screen, is very loose and alive, and as we've gone over, the drawings lean away from Oda's very stylized art.
Oh my
Anyways,
God, Nami looks
besides
awesome.
all that, Luffy finally meets the pirate Gunzak, who just feels like a non-clown version
Wait,
of
is this
Buggy
video
for
gonna
me.
spoil me the
And our
entire
first
OVA?
proper
I
fight
want-
begins.
I need to
And man,
go into
it
this
is
shit
difficult to break
blind.
this down without dragging on, because it's really packed with so many little details, like the animator flinging Luffy's arms around before he bounces out of the way, on the impact of the explosion, a flickering wave glass
Little
filter
details
is
like that
added
always make
to make it feel
animation
more impactful
fucking
and big.
awesome.
And for the main cut, there's a whole mountain of difficulty to climb for the animator. They have to
Wow.
work with 5 characters in a single cut. It's fairly long. Oda also hands the staff a pretty detailed design with Gunzak, so the animator is also having to keep in consideration how these massive crab claws will function in relation to the body. And on top of that, these two are constantly moving. Luffy in particular is always
Luffy looks
bouncing
so
around.
goofy.
The action is definitely a bit short-lived, and it's kind of annoying we don't actually get to see Zoro fight. It just shows the aftermath, but whatever. What action
they
there
pulled
is
a Moon
was
Knight
well
season
done.
1.
So the crew are now all captured, except Nami, who's with Gunzak. I think it's clear by this point the scriptwriter Kitajima was kind of just grabbing all sorts of plot points from the manga, and it's around this part where animator Yasunori Miyazawa presumably comes in. Now this isn't a unique observation or something I haven't said before, but anime of the shonen kind likes to have the best animation focused on the action, while the character animation, if there is any, remains pretty plain. Ever so often you might get a team that challenges that, like with Ranking of Kings,
So
Chainsaw
good.
Man, or just
So
a
good.
particularly important moment, but those
Pretty good.
are exceptions. And so it makes animation like this noteworthy. It's a rarity to see so much attention paid to how the dialogue is expressed. Like as Zoro yells, every word is animated out. It's way more expressive and adds a lot of life into the scene. Luffy in particular, with his
I'm not gonna lie,
rubber-like body,
I gotta
is
take a
an
piss.
animation playground, really gives a lot of freedom for expression. And whether this is Miyazawa or not, whoever it is really takes full advantage, twisting and bending Luffy's face in all sorts of wacky, expressive ways that just wouldn't be possible with any other character. There's also animation techniques like multiples, which is something I
Holy
feel you see
shit.
more in Western cartoons than anime. Works really well here.
Works for
though.
One Piece though.
Moving on, the villagers revolt against Ganzak and
Or at least Luffy.
tossing dynamite around like it's Red Dead Redemption. And it's presumed Yutaka Nakamura
Captain
comes in for the
Ganzak.
power-up, which obviously really
What a
good.
cool name.
It has all the flair needed for this moment and gets the audience thinking, okay, now it's really going to go down. And one of the ways he goes about it is this constant layering. So there's that
Fuck,
pause
Soul
when
Eater's so
Ganzak
good.
comes back
We
with
need
the
the
cape
remake
flapping
now.
in the wind, which is followed up with a quick flickering of lightning, then a massive cloud of smoke that blocks out the background, then it covers Ganzak with just a silhouette, and then finally that's blocked out as well. Like Nakamura just keeps layering element after element. Just when you think it's gotta stop, he takes it up again. For me, this is
Animation's
what
so cool. I
carries
wish
that
artists were
excitement
real.
in his work. It's this
Can we
constant
bebop Steins Gate?
elevation.
I don't know, man. I read the visual novel Steins Gate, so I probably have a higher opinion in it than people that watch the anime. But I also like Cowboy Bebop a lot. I'm gonna go Steins Gate. Homie, I'm gonna go Steins Gate. But yeah.
Of energy. Now, I think with all the great
kind of
aspects
unfair, though.
we've gone over regarding the visuals for this movie, it's not going to
I
come
like
as
Cowboy
a
Bebop,
shock
though.
that
Not-
that
like, nothing against
quality
it.
is maintained
It's
for
awesome.
the final battle. So the tower the townspeople were building turns out to be a massive ship, and Ganzak uses it to begin leveling the island. I brought this up in my last video about how simple but effective size contrast is, and you can see it here. Massive explosion that fills almost half the screen, small ship. The photography effects are noteworthy as well. The blur, a subtle zoom, the wave glass filter again,
I'm not
and a
gonna
red
lie.
filter layered over the
I
top.
did not realize
By
this was gonna
themselves, there's nothing
be so
that
long.
interesting, but altogether it,
Now I feel
it
bad
helps
'cause
to
I feel like
make
I'm still in
for
this
a
content.
visually powerful explosion.
I don't have
with
much
the
to
final
add.
battle, Ganzak's arsenal makes it pretty
gonna
fun,
get
but it's
nervous.
so short. Like, before I gave it a pass, but everything's been leading to this, and there's less action than their first battle. At least we get to see Zoro actually fight, even if it's
Woo!
for only about 15 seconds. The composition of everything is strong as ever though, engaging angles with interesting framing. But then we come to Medika's death, supposedly.
Wait,
And
no, don't spoil it for me. Wait a minute, no. I gotta skip. I want to watch this shit. I don't want it to get spoiled. Ah, no, get away from me. Oh, God. Oh, is he about to have a rage scene? Well, I
And
feel
the
like I've
visuals
been...
match the tone.
I feel like I've
Palette
been
swapped to
spoiled
black and
already.
white,
It's a bit too
intense
late.
angles, A+. It's great. And appropriately, silence is used.
No, no.
But then
No,
it's
no.
followed up with an upbeat jazz tune. Like,
Yeah, woo!
is this meant to be a celebration? What little goblins were prancing around the office that day that convinced them this was a good idea? Honestly, in retrospect,
Nah,
it's
Dragon Ball
pretty
used to have that type of
humorous,
music.
But definitely broke the immersion and a lot of the
in the
well-built
dub,
up tension
but-
during my first watch. Now, the final part is animated by Toru Yoshida. I would honestly be surprised if more than 5 people watching are like, hey, I've heard of him. But with an insane credit list like this, you've no doubt
Damn.
seen his work before. He's definitely an old school name, known more for his mecha animation more than anything, and fun fact, is still around animating and returned to the
Yeah, so his
series
name on
for
Feed
One
and
Piece
Apocrypha.
Movie 6. Anyways, he'd been animating...
Wait, is One Piece movie 6 the one with the really different animation everyone talks about? I really want to watch that one. Or was it Z? Which one was the one that everyone said was darker? It has to be this one. It definitely is this one. I'm watching this one. This one looks fucking awesome.
since the early 80s, so placing this moment in the hands of someone as experienced as him is no surprise. After that, we find out Medika was alive the whole time, and so is
Woo!
Ganzak.
Well-
Not for long though. The last part is surprisingly pretty limited and snappy. Even a harmony cell is used, very unproduction IG-ish. And so I have a feeling it was probably one of the animators from Cockpit who did this last scene. Also, props to Taniguchi for
Today
that smooth
saved.
transition. All in all, it ends on a good note. Vibrant art direction, Luffy being bullied by a kid, it's great. And this time the jazz tracks do suit. This was
Hey, yeah.
really a fun little special, although its short length doesn't allow for the greatest plot in the world, but it's fine. And for me, visually, it more than makes
Yeah, it's
up
probably
for
just
it.
a
Honestly,
fucking
I
manga
don't think
advertisement
anything comes
anyways.
close to being as animated as it was until One Piece Movie 4. It's really a hidden gem. But with that though, of course, thank you for watching. I did actually begin reading One Piece back in January, so probably
Woo!
more One Piece videos in the future when I actually begin the
Woo!
TV series. Also, check out the sponsor Fandom Eon to put a shirt on your...
Whoa. You're not gonna get me, buddy. You're not gonna get me, buddy. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a video essay. I mean, I knew that going in. I don't know. It just felt really long, but it really wasn't. Like, it really wasn't that long, but it just felt long. But yeah, that was a really nice video. But now, Mori Calliope.